ideas. And how I met Tina is when I'm sitting in my government cubicle and dying because I don't want to write this report, and I'm thinking, I want to inspire and I want to be inspired. I start researching speakers. This is what I do on the side, I know. And I saw Tina's profile and I'm like, magical. I just feel this thing in me when I start talking to speakers, and some resonate with me much more than others. And Tina is one of those people. I'll give you a little profile about Tina. She's a certified executive coach and an inner work development facilitator. She has 25 years of experience holding director and executive director levels in business operations and human resources at Hold Renfrew, Casino de Montreal, Casino Niagara, and a host of other organizations. She's led and had hands-on approach to a more conceptual approach, working on business turnarounds, organizational design, culture change, leadership development, mentoring, coaching programs, and human resource strategy. There's a whole page here about Tina. I won't read all of it. She's extremely skilled in the work that she does. She's traveled around the world and coached people in Africa, Nunavik. There's a host of other countries and different industries that she's worked there. The whole point being that Tina's here today to share some things about ambiguity. Earlier on, I explained that I think there are moments in our lives that we all struggle with ambiguity, and I have this quote by Gilda Radner, and it'll come up a little later, but it ended the quote. It went to the effect of there really isn't a beginning and an ending. And I think as humans, we always try to define things. We want to put the words on things. We want to know, when does it start? When does it end? When do I move on to the next thing? And I've learned not to label things as much, stay open. And when I read that quote, it gave me hope that in ambiguity, you can actually, that's probably the best time to find your true path. It actually opens the doors to really figure out who you are and where you want to go in life and make those new connections that align with your journey. So I think Tina would provide a really nice talk because this aligns with a lot of the work she does. And let's put our hands together for Tina Diaz. Thank you.
Thank you. What I want to do is I want to talk about what happens in uncertainty. We haven't had here a lot of people that went down what I call the evil wolf road, which I'm going to talk about. Most of you stayed positive or stayed in that neutral, ambiguous zone. There's a story that actually I'm going to present it to you here. Those of you that would like to read it. There's a Cherokee that told was telling his grandson about, the struggles that we have within us. And I don't know if you've seen this before, but I absolutely love it. It's so real and true. And he was saying that we have two wolves inside of us. We have an evil wolf. So we have one that has anger and has, denial and all the wonderful words you see up there, sorrow, regret, and it's sort of the self-pity, that darker side. And then we have the good wolf, and that good wolf is the beautiful one that has all the gorgeous words you see, the compassion, the benevolence, kindness, the faith towards us and others. And the grandson said, well, if it's a struggle within us, which wolf wins? And he says, the one you feed. So tonight I want to really talk about when we're in an ambiguous situation, which wolf are we feeding? Which path do we take in order to approach it in the way we would like to approach it to make it delicious? So the secret. I know it's a big word to use, but I love to say that the secret in ambiguity is the meaning, the weight, the interpretation that we put on it. So if I decide to put a meaning of something that weighs really heavy or is really dark and hard, I'm definitely going to take the route of the evil wolf. However, if the meaning of it becomes interpreted in a very positive way, then I'm obviously going to focus more on curiosity and possibilities rather than on fear and on a path of doomsday, I guess we could say. The other thing, so I talked about meaning, is the interpretation. When we are faced, and I'm going to give you some examples we'll walk through together. When we're faced with ambiguity, we have the meaning we put on it. It's like the weight of it, the importance. What am I going to do with this? Which path do I take? And there's also the interpretation. How am I going to interpret this ambiguity, right? How many of you are really good at telling stories, creating a story? Yeah, I'm a pro. Like we have a difficult situation, or something happens that's ambiguous, and the first place we go to is those dark thoughts, right? We go to that whole story that we start to build up. And we're building it and building it and building it, and by the time we actually find the real fact and the truth, we realize we have to like deflate it, the whole story we've been building. So the story building is fine as long as it's going on the path of the good wolf in a positive direction. But it doesn't always, because we get filled with emotion as well. Our belief system. So we talked about meaning, we talked about interpretation, and our beliefs. So if my belief system around the ambiguity and around myself and my upbringing and my past and everything that surrounds me, that belief system is going to guide me into how I deal with ambiguity. You could present two different people as one situation and they will react completely differently. Part of it is the meaning they put in it, the interpretation they give it, and the other thing is the belief system they have around the ambiguity. That would never happen to me, or that could never happen to me, or I could never attract that, or the opposite, that, oh wow, I see nothing but possibility, I'm curious about what would happen next.